Well, welcome back to the Ropes Family Podcast. I'm not sure what episode this is. This might be episode 65.
I think it is.
Yeah, last week was episode 64.
I think.
So episode 65, we're going to be talking about Psalm 23. So last week we talked about the first three verses. So now I think we're going to talk about verse 4, just because it kind of stands on a little pillar by itself. So let me read it real quick, and then we can kind of talk through it. It says, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me." So I think we've experienced a lot of evil this last couple weeks, right?
It's been rough.
And I think that some of us, as more mature Christians, or even any Christians, we kind of have a peace about things that happen. Mm-hmm. Obviously, with the Charlie Kirk stuff, that was pretty wild. Mm-hmm. And when I first saw it, it rocked me in a way that I didn't think it would.
Yeah, same.
I've seen things like that before. I'm like, well, yeah, But it just was different. Mm-hmm. And Donovan is the one who showed me, which was, whatever. But it was just like different. I even told him, I said, that just feels different to me. Mm-hmm. We've heard about these things happening before. They which is unfortunate. Like, we kind of hear of these things happening all the time. Mm-hmm. But it just felt different. It felt like a shift, or something was going to come about from this. And mm-hmm. I'm not sure what that is. It's been a week and a half since, and it's kind of died down a little bit, but there's been a lot on the social media, on the social medias, on
the Facebooks,
about just different takes and different expectations from certain people, and I don't know if I agree with all of them. Mm-hmm. Have you had any kind of experiences from this? I mean, share what you want to share. I know we're on a podcast.
I will say that I have been amazed at the, I told y'all this in meeting the other day, like TikTok, the people that are like, I'm an atheist, but I'm going to try church this Sunday.
Yeah.
Or I used to believe in God, and then, one I read was my baby died, and then I turned away from God because how could he let that happen? But she was like, but now I feel like I need to go back and look for him again. Mm-hmm. So that's what I've been amazed by.
Yeah, there has been like a swelling in church attendance, mm-hmm. When we talked about this in our meeting, I don't know necessarily the motive behind the swell. I think churches do swell when tragedies happen. And churches do unify, and it's kind of important for churches to almost brace for that, but mm-hmm. also minister in a way that kind of takes Psalm, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Mm-hmm. Right? The church can apply that to our lives in these moments. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why people also come to church that haven't been in a while, or kind of come back, because mm-hmm. They're looking for comfort somewhere, mm-hmm. and hopefully they will find it in the presence of the Lord. But
and I have a friend that her mom died several years ago, but mm-hmm. she's never been the same since, and she's never going to be happy because of she's looking for happiness in anything, mm-hmm. but she has never turned to the Lord.
Yeah,
like, she loses weight, she gets cosmetic surgery, she does all this stuff to make her happy, and she says, this is going to make me happy if I'm just skinny, if I just have, perfect lips, mm-hmm. perfect teeth, and she's still not happy. Mm-hmm. And so this week, I told her significant other that I believed she's looking in the wrong place. Mm. And I haven't told her that yet, but I was like, if you would just turn to Jesus, just give him a chance, you'll find what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So it was.
How did that conversation end? Was it just kind of, okay, I'll tell her?
He said, I need to tell her. He's like, I want you to say that. I want you to say you're looking in the wrong place. So it's like that. She's been walking through this horrible dark valley, and she's not, He's there, but she's not letting him, not him, God, comfort her.
Yeah, I understand that. We talked about a little bit of something like that in youth, about finding an accountability partner or having people hold you accountable or walk you through the valleys, and sometimes you need to be that for people. And just being ready and willing and trustworthy and things like that, those are big things in being a part of the community, part of the body of Christ. Back to the always looking for something. My youth pastor back in the day, he used to share this. I call it the Tom Brady story because he would share. There was 3 or 4 times he shared it, which was funny. But he played this video or this interview with Tom Brady after he'd won a Super Bowl. He had won, I don't know, 5 so far or whatever, and the interviewer asked him, "What's next?" And he's like, "I don't know what's next. I've done the best, but I still feel like I'm chasing something." The guy that's won all the Super Bowls, all the big things, he's still searching for something. And we as believers, we know what that is.
Yeah.
We know where we can find our satisfaction, our hope, the thing that will keep us, that won't leave us wanting more, which is Jesus. But for unbelievers, they're just going to constantly be looking, and they can find temporary satisfaction. Even like we can scroll on our phones and get little chuckles or little dopamine hits or whatever. When we're kind of just feeling like we don't know, and we look for all kinds of things to satisfy our souls, to restore our souls, like mentioning the verse 3 last week. But God is the one that restores our soul. Yeah. I guess the second part of the verse is your rod and your staff, they comfort me. And usually when you're looking at a rod and a staff, those things kind of look like they're. I shared this a little bit last week, but I'm gonna share it again. I was guiding Easton to where he needed to go on Wednesday night, trying to get him to the little food line. And I was whacking him. And when I said whacking, it's a gentle...
Hitting your child upside the head?
It's a gentle whack.
Oh, okay.
It's a gentle nudge, turning his face in the right direction and which way to go. And I've shared this story a couple times, but I feel like God does that in my life. God will take my head and turn it in the direction I need to go because he can see what's coming. And if I need to go around this, he'll push me around it. He'll turn my head, and I'm so grateful for that. And I've learned it that's how God works in my life. With the more I do that with my boys, I still do that with Elliot, and it bothers him. He's trying to fight me. I'm like, no, just turn. You can go this way, and you'll be fine. You won't pee your pants or whatever.
Yeah.
I think I've shared the story about on the cruise line when we were in the restaurant on the boat, and he needed to go to the bathroom, and I knew the right way to go. But he wanted to go his own way, but whatever. I took him and I put him in the right direction so he wouldn't pee his pants. And so God kind of takes us and turns us in the directions we need to go, his rod and his staff, in the ways we need to go to prevent us from peeing our pants or from getting lost in all of the things in the evil, right?
Well, that's what a shepherd uses that for. I mean, he has that little hook on the end. If he needs to grab one of them, he can. It's not to be mean, it's not because, as I've seen, Ben use one of those on a goat, and I'm like, oh, that hurts. And he's like, no, it's for their own good. I have to get them over here. Yeah. It's better than stressing them out and sending them into a frenzy. And I was like, oh, good point. So it's the same thing. I mean, God.
I didn't know you guys had one of them hooks.
Oh, we do.
That's awesome.
Yes, we do. And, I mean, a shepherd has to say, come back. If you walk over there, you're going to fall off a cliff, you dumb sheep. I swear, God looks at me and says that. He does. Or even like the flat part, they can kind of tap them on the side, come back. Yeah. We don't need to wander off. Yeah. Once again, God also does that to me.
And I think there's that parable in Luke where the shepherd goes and finds the one out of the 99, right? If you guys lose a goat, you're going to go find it.
Yeah, I got to go find it.
Yeah, you guys look for it until you find it, and then you bring it back. You restore it back to the herd, to the community. And I think that, in times like this, that it's important to let God bring you back. Not to run farther down the valley. But sometimes, when you're in a valley, the climb back up is tough,
Yeah.
right? Have you tried to climb up a cliff by yourself? When you're down in a valley, I went deer hunting a few years ago, and my uncle and I, we killed a deer down in this deep ravine, okay? Because this is different than hunting in Texas, okay? In New Mexico, when we were hunting, we had to go deep out in the wilderness. Okay?
Actually, mountains.
Yeah, mountains and wilderness. Okay, so we were down deep. I was walking down in the bottom of the ravine in this big, giant canyon. And then my uncle was walking about halfway through. And I got this deer up. It stood up about 30 feet from me and started running. It is the biggest deer I've ever seen. This is a funny part of the story. My uncle, he needed hearing aids. He couldn't hear, even with hearing aids. And he didn't hear this deer get up, and he didn't see it. But I didn't want to spook it any farther, but I was trying to get his attention, jumping up and down, yelling, or whatever. And so I finally yelled. I was like, "There's a deer!" And he finally saw it, and he killed it. But then it rolls down in the bottom of this hill, and we have, we do all the things you do with a deer when you get it done. And then we decided we had to carry it straight up this hill, because we'd either walk down in the bottom of this valley forever and ever and still have to, and it would wear us out, or we could strain for a couple hours and go straight up.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like God does that. Sometimes he's going to take us he's going to take our dead cells in the bottom of the valley and just strain and pick it. And we couldn't do it. We had to go get help. We found some help to help us carry it up. But sometimes we need help getting straight up, because sometimes continuing down the path in the valley is just going to keep us there. And sometimes we have to make a straight direction change straight up.
When you can't see when you're down there because there's cliffs on both sides. I mean, all you can see is the darkness, the awful, the horrible, because it's tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Or for me it is. And you got those cliffs, you either have to go up or stay miserable.
Yeah.
Kind of
and
thing.
by the way, I was like 13. So if I was my current age, and I could probably do this. And he was in his late 60s. And so we were pretty handicapped with this whole situation. We probably shouldn't have been
He
hunting.
could do it now.
Yeah.
You
I could
do it now, yeah.
Yeah. He's since passed away since then, but anyway, so sometimes God's got to take you and pull you out of the valley, and it's not, and sometimes you definitely need help. You can't do it on your own. But as far as rod and staff, they also are like, it also kind of looks like obedience, right? Because you with a rod and a staff, you make them obey, right? You make sheep obey, right? And I know, and obedience seems like a really strong word in today's culture, right? It seems like almost with a negative connotation. I said this downstairs, like when we talk about obedience, it seems kind of negative, right? Like you have to obey. Or
obey your parents.
Yeah.
Obey authority.
But if you look at obedience in a biblical term, it's following, it's doing what the Lord says, not out of fear, but out of, maybe a little out of fear of the Lord, but it's more out of obeying because you love, and that's when it's talking about obey your parents, love your parents. Do what they say because they know what's best, right? And obey the Lord. Obey the rod and the staff. Follow the rod and the staff because they comfort us, and that's what it says. They comfort, because the comfort, God knows with his rod and staff the right ways for us to go.
Right.
We got a family challenge?
No, I think we could talk through some stuff with our families, like not just the Charlie Kirk stuff, but just the world in general. It's dark right now, or I feel it's dark.
Yeah. And
my kids have asked a lot of questions, and I think going back to this verse and going back to other verses that are like, God has our back, and Jesus is one. And I said that on one podcast. I told the kids that, like, it doesn't matter what's happening. Jesus already won.
Yeah.
He defeated death. I mean, God raised him from the dead.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter what happens in this world.
Yeah, he's already won, but it doesn't make the valley still uncomfortable.
No, it's still hard.
Yeah, but sometimes we just need to let his rod and his staff comfort us and bring us in the right directions. Yes. And, back to the Charlie Kirk stuff, I have struggled with it as far as, like, what the church's role in it. And I think the church's role in all of this is to point people to Jesus. You know, and if Charlie was watching this podcast or listening to this podcast, I think he would say, yeah, the goal is Jesus. The goal is not to honor me. The goal is to honor Jesus. And I think that it's important for churches to realize that, that the goal is to honor Jesus, not to honor a person.
Right.
It's to honor the Lord. And, you know, I would say any martyr would say that, you know, if that's what people are considering Charlie Kirk as a martyr. Yeah. Any martyr they do that to point people to Jesus, not to make it about themselves.
Right.
And, you know, churches can easily get caught up in you know, almost not the worship of Charlie Kirk, but too much of honoring.
Right. No, it gets kind of that way.
And it gets that way in our culture, in American culture. It kind of gets that way where we put people where they don't need to be. We need to put Jesus in that place. And so I had the thought, and please don't come after me if whoever's listening to this, but how many times have we said Charlie Kirk in the last week and a half? And then what's the ratio of how many times we've talked about Jesus to other people? Well, how many times have we talked about Charlie Kirk versus Jesus? And what's the ratio?
Yeah.
Think about that, you know, and if you think about it, you know, you could probably count how many.
Right.
The ratio is probably higher on Charlie Kirk, but we need to make sure that our focus and our minds and our words that we say are honoring to Jesus. And we can use Charlie Kirk.
He did good. I don't think either one of us are saying he didn't. He spread the gospel and the message, and he defended Jesus, but we've got to keep our focus on Jesus.
Yeah. Yep. Because his rod and his staff comfort us, you know. Like we said, we search further in the world to find the things that comfort us, or the things that help affirm our side, right? But we need to constantly be looking at Jesus in those things. All right, that's all we got this week. Sorry, these episodes have been a little heavy, but listen, surely goodness and mercy will follow us at all the days of our life, and that's what we're going to be talking about next week is God's goodness. We will talk at y'all next week. Peace.